In this session, we will be talking about the concept of hedonistic adaptation. Now, when this was something that really excited me when I first discovered it in the study of happiness, because it explained why, it explained why, chasing happiness alone was never enough. Because do you realize that once you get into, sometimes you have a desire for something, you chase after it so much, and then you get it, and then you're happy for a moment, but then it doesn't exactly last, and then it's like you're looking for another something. Like immediately you find that thing that makes you happy, that you thought will make you like probably the happiest person on earth. You're looking for the next thing that will make you happy, or that should make you happy. That is the concept of hedonistic adaptation. It is the phenomenon where individuals return to their baseline level of happiness after experiencing an initial high. Essentially, we become accustomed to pleasure and often fail to sustain the joy these initial experiences bring. Typical example, most people feel, an excitement or a high when they buy a new home or a new car or get a new job or get into a new relationship. However, research shows that usually after a while, the person comes back to their baseline of happiness, their baseline level of happiness. So the real question is, what is your baseline level of happiness, right? What is your baseline level of happiness? That is what brings us back to the subject or the concept of meaning in your life. There is another situation that happens with us. Usually when we have an expectation of something that we assume should make us very happy, and then those situations don't make us as happy as we expected them to be, we quickly within ourselves, so that's we discover there's a cognitive dissonance right there. Like what we expected and what our reality is not correlating, right? So we quickly come back to our baseline of happiness by rationalizing the current situation that we find ourselves in as against the expectation that we had. So sometimes we will give ourselves reasons why things are the way they are, or we make excuses for things just so that we can maintain that sense of contentment and come back to our baseline of happiness. Now, when you think about these things that happen within ourselves, most of the time unconsciously, you would think that it would make people more attentive, to themselves, make people pay more attention to themselves, make people, seek to understand themselves a little more, which is why self-awareness is very, very important, because it makes you know that even though I have this expectation and I'm looking for this high or that, you can sort of catch yourself, right? You can catch yourself, reaching for this high. Like you can find yourself, okay, this thing that I'm looking for is because I'm hoping that it's going to make me happy. But then let's understand that getting it is not going to make me necessarily happy. And so I need to be working more towards my baseline happiness. Now, baseline happiness is basically the amount of joy and contentment that you have in your life, regardless of external circumstances. So this is a true measure of what is happening inside of you. And I will always say this, that this has been my advantage. And because I'm the one teaching this course, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to try to sound politically correct, but this is the secret that I've found. I found it in the Bible. I found it in the Word of God. It says that happy is the man that trusts in the Lord. And when I found that scripture, it totally changed my life, because then it makes me know that the Lord is my shepherd. He's the one caring for me. And so I submit and I cast my cares on him because he cares for me. I mean, think about it. If you had somebody that cared for you and took care of you and looked out for you, it would make you come into a place of rest, into a place of peace. And so it's not that I don't have issues, it's not that I don't have problems, but I'm able to rest. I'm able to sort of handle my issues. I'm able to take up my problems and work on them. I'm able to enjoy the life that I have. I remember I had a conversation with a friend and I told her that I love my life. And I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my mouth, because I remember specifically that a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that. I wouldn't have been able to say that I love my life, right? But I do. I absolutely love my life. And for me, that's where it comes from. That baseline level of happiness it comes from, trusting the Lord, having an assurance that someone cared for me, someone made me, someone designed me, somebody wanted me, they thought of me, and then they designed me so that I could fit whatever purpose they had in mind when they were making me. And now that I'm here living a life on earth, they watch over me, they provide for me, creating and curating the right relationships and circumstances for me to live my best life. So even though I see that something's not going exactly the way I would want it to be, I have this confidence and assurance that in the end it's going to be for my good. You see? So at the end of the day, my baseline level of happiness is quite high. I am quite happy with my life. And so regardless of the exterior circumstances that happen, I am not exactly moved. I am happy with myself. I'm confident in myself. And the external circumstances that happen, like a promotion, like a new job, like a this, like a that, a car, a house, this or that, it only comes to complement the joy that I'm already feeling inside, right? It doesn't necessarily make me happy. It's not what I pursue, right? And so that's what we need to understand. So whatever your baseline of happiness is, it will be defined by your principal values and beliefs. Those are very important to establish a healthy baseline of happiness. One of the things also about hedonistic adaptation is this: when you find yourself in a socially comparative environment like ours, where everybody is putting their highlights reel on Instagram or on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok, you find yourself often comparing yourself to other people. Now, what comparing yourself does to you is this: it makes you feel a sense of a lack of achievement. It robs you of the ability to be able to see what it is that you have right now. And because you can't see what it is you have right now, you cannot be grateful for what you have. You cannot be content with what you have. And then it sets you on a spiral of constant desire. Now, understand that based on our studies on hedonistic adaptation, regardless of how much you get, you're going to return to your baseline level of happiness. And so comparing yourself to people only leads you into a cycle of dissatisfaction, because you're never satisfied or content with what it is that you have, with what it is that you have achieved. You're not even able to have the time to see what it is that you have before you, because you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. Now, here's the key. One thing that saves me from comparing myself to other people is understanding that there is no one like you. Really, there isn't. Even your fingerprints tell you that. Now, you need to understand that in as much as it gives you a feeling of being special or being unique, it also places upon you the mandate of responsibility, because there is a place that only you can fill. There is a job that only you can do in the way that only you do it. Now, if you don't show up to take your place, if you don't show up to fill your space, now most of us are trying to be other people, but then what you should realize that space is already taking, and the space of you, the space of who you ought to be, is lying vacant waiting for you. Now, if you don't focus on filling your space, filling your place, doing what only you can do, because like I said, when I think about it, I think about the fact that someone thought of me. I didn't just occur from the evolution of apes. I was an intentional thought of a designer, of a creator who thought of me and who made me, designed me to fill a specific spot, to be a specific kind of way. There are so many coaching courses out there, there's so many personal development courses out there, but nobody does it the way I do it. And that's the thing. If you don't understand that only you can be you, you're gonna always feel like you need to compare yourself with other people. But what you don't understand is that place of other people, being somebody else, is already taken. The role that you're called to fill is the role of being you. And so on that note, I would like to encourage you to avoid comparing yourself with other people. Now, the interesting thing about comparing yourself with other people is this: most of the times, the things that we compare ourselves with other people about are things that we know is within our reach. However, we haven't put in the work or put in what it takes to be able to achieve those things. Sometimes you see people performing so well online, and then you're like, I really wish this was me, or da 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 da. But the thought that how you should look at it rather is this person paid a price for whatever it is they have. Am I willing to pay the same price to flourish in this way, according to what is meant for me, right? Am I willing to pay the price to flourish in this particular way according to what is meant for me? Because trust me, no two people are the same, and no two people define success the same way. And so you cannot compare yourself with another person based on what is success to them or what means something to them, right? So you will have to figure out how much you're willing to sacrifice, how much you're willing to pay to be able to get what it is that you desire, not what is socially acceptable. So